Playwrights Jerome Lawrence and Robert Edwin Lee built their play Inherit the Wind on the classic model of the modern realistic play that was developed by Henrik Ibsen and others 150 years ago. It's proven to be a useful tool for dealing on the stage with some of the major issues in our world. They're dealt with by people who act and talk like us in settings that are convincingly real and familiar. Inherit the Wind dramatizes the issue of the teaching of Darwin's theory of evolution and extends that issue to the question of what limits, if any, should be placed on what we can read and say and even think. The play lightly fictionalizes the Scopes monkey trial in Tennessee in the 1920s. The state passed a law forbidding the teaching of evolution. A young high school teacher challenged it by teaching evolution. He was arrested and charged. The trial was a sensation. The press descended on the town. William Jennings Bryan, famous orator and presidential candidate, joined the prosecution to defend the Bible and the Christian faith. Renowned lawyer and freethinker Clarence Darrow joined the opposition to defend science and freedom of speech and thought. Trials are inherently dramatic. Playwrights Jerome Lawrence and Robert E. Lee crafted this play well, bringing in multiple voices but keeping the focus clear. Their sympathy for the Darrow figure and his case is obvious, but they give the other side enough of their due to keep it interesting. While evolution can still be a hot topic in pockets of the Bible Belt, debates about science versus belief of one kind or another still light up our public life, especially with issues like global warming and the environment. The specific topic may change, but the underlying conflicts remain, and the basic issue remains. Does anyone have the right to tell another what he can and cannot think, the right to end all questioning and debate on a subject? The play's sympathy for freedom of thought and inquiry presents something of a problem for the actor playing Matthew Harrison Brady, the play's name for the Bryan figure. Bryan was a powerful advocate for the common people in the populist movement of the turn of the 20th century. The people of the small town hosting the trial love him and proudly tell him how many times they voted for him for president. But now they welcome him not because of his liberal economic and political policies, but because he's come to defend their fundamentalist Christian faith and the absolute truth of the Bible. These are not positions most of us associate with left-wing Democratic politicians, so as the townspeople love him, most of us in the audience find him dangerous or ridiculous or both. And Alan Knoll, playing Brady in the current Insight Theater Company production, in a fine balancing act, makes him both dangerous and ridiculous. Because Knoll is a brilliant comedian, he may tilt a little toward the comic side. Or that may just be the reaction of my sympathies. Certainly his Brady is fierce in his attack on freedom and ironclad in the closing of his mind. But we also see a residual decency when he restrains the local pastor's fiery condemnations of the other side. And there is pathos in his attempt to deliver a final speech as the crowd ignores him and leaves the courtroom, a scene the playwrights may have taken from the final moments of a documentary about Senator Joseph McCarthy, in which he continues to talk in a Senate hearing as the people clear the room. As Knoll's Brady happily bloviates, John Contini's Henry Drummond, the Clarence Darrow figure, wastes no words playing to the audience, but drives straight to the point that comes from his deepest and clearest convictions. He can be a little rough-hewn, but it's the kind of rough-hewn that's lovable. Contini and Knoll play well together. So does all the large cast under the direction of Sidney Grossberg-Runge. Pete Winfrey doesn't say much, but he fully invests the young teacher on trial with conviction and dedication. Sigrid Wise is especially fine as his girlfriend, who is also awkwardly the daughter of the local pastor, a fire-breathing Michael Brightman. Susie Wald is a devoted wife to Brady. Jason Contini plays E.K. Hornbeck, cynical reporter from the big city of Baltimore, based on H.L. Mencken, who peppers us with his comments. Kurt H. Knadelseder brings sympathetic warmth to the court's bailiff. B.F. Hellman is the firm judge, as well as a local eccentric called Elijah. Kent Koffel juggles the political dilemmas of the town's mayor, and Christopher Strahan is the local prosecuting attorney. Kyra Bishop's basic set functions well for the courtroom and for scenes outside it, with lighting by Sean Savoy, a fascinating range of period costumes by Tracy Newcomb Margrave, and sound by Brett Harness. Lawrence and Lee, the playwrights, wrought well in Inherit the Wind. So has this production.
Yeah, you say that Noel and Contini play well together. I've been watching them do that since 1976.
When they were at St. Louis U.
Actually, before that, a community theater production of Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum at City Players of St. Louis the first time.
And they just keep going.
They do. Hey, thanks for watching. Click here to subscribe and check us out on Facebook. The link is below.